everybody. Welcome to Monday Night Live in Lexington, you guys. My name is Catherine Kaufman, and I'm a psychic medium here in Lexington, Kentucky. Welcome to my every Monday night talk show. This happens every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tonight is going to be part 2 of Do Houses Have Spirits? Shout out over here to Instagram. Thanks for all you guys that are joining tonight. And let's do some shout outs on Facebook. Hey to Chrissy Hudgens. Special shout out to Ricky Elkins and George McKinney, Philip Travis, Lou Mastrino, and Chris Portev. Thanks for joining us. And Corey Prodif Board. Andrea, Kathy, and Kim. Thanks for joining me this evening. For those of you that are tuning in to the Psychic Medium TV channel, that's my professional page. You won't be able to join in the chat there. I've left a link for you to hit if you have something you want to add and you want to comment or whatever. Just hit that link and jump over here to the personal page. The personal page is the only page I do the chat on. So let me catch up on some more shout outs. Hey to Andrea Bryant, Kathy Warner Harden, Kim Asher, Amanda, Zoe. Big shout out to Zoe. What's the weather like in the UK today? I want to know. Hey to Katie, Donna, and Yasmin and Mary. Over here on Instagram, hey to you guys. Beer, I can't. Ari Lazino. Thanks for joining. So last week, I'm just going to recap really quickly on how a spirit of the house relates to the human body. Again, just like always, I would love to hear what you guys think about this. Shout out in the comment section on my personal page if you think that houses have a spirit. Surprisingly enough, a lot of people have been messaging me and saying that they really believe that their home or their house has an actual spirit. Now, I'm not talking about a spirit, a human spirit being in the house. I'm talking about the house in general having its own spirit or having its sentient feeling or emotion or knowledge. A special shout out to Melissa Begley and my favorite cat, Miss Cleo. Big kisses to you guys. Veronica, Paige, Brant, Sharon, Tricia, Patricia, and Mary. Thanks for joining tonight. Again, shout out if you want to chime in on what you think. So if you watched last week's episode, we were talking about how the parts of the human body relate to actually the parts of the house, and how sometimes when I go into a property to do a walkthrough or to do an investigation, I am really feeling that the house or the home has gained some kind of sentient feeling or sentient communication with me, which I know that sounds crazy, but I think it's plausible, and let me tell you why I think that. So I feel like the brain is equative to the electrical wiring of the home or the house. Okay. The heart of the body is equative to the hearth of the home. Now, the hearth of your home can be the actual fireplace as it was in ancient times, or it can be, I feel like it in modern days, it's the kitchen area where the cooking and the congregation happens between the family. Hey over here to Burris, Regina, and Michael Robert over here on Instagram. So I think that the heart of the home is equated to the hearth or the kitchen area in this case in modern times. The skeleton of the body is equated to the framing of the home. So that's the structure or the frame of the home. And I feel like the emotions of a person are kind of equated to the plumbing and the waterworks of the home, because you know emotions are so closely tied to water. And so the water and the plumbing of the home really kind of mimics the emotions, and it really carries the feeling and the emotions of the home. So let me check for any kind of questions. Hey to Lisa, Peggy, Lyric, and Gary, and Patricia, and Robin. Thanks for joining me this evening. And a special shout out to Mary. I hope you're doing okay. So a lot of people have come to me and said, and we've worked on this a lot in the past, why won't my home sell? Okay. They've done everything possible. They've, you know, buried the St. Christopher statue in the lawn upside down facing the road. And they've done the prayers, we've done the crystal work, but still could not sell the home, no matter what or how hard they tried to do. So we had to look at, does the spirit of the house, or if your spirit of the home is picking up your energy, if it's connected to you in any way, is that preventing you from selling the home? And I say yes. Okay. Hey to Moon over here on Instagram, and Heather and Risa, and let's see, Lisa. Thanks for joining us. So if you have been living in your home for greater than 5 years, there's definitely an energy cord connection with the sentient knowledge or the sentient energy of the home. The home is definitely connected to you through an energy cord. So if you do try to sell it, a lot of us forget this. We need to prepare the structure for a new owner. We need to say goodbye to that sentient entity that is residing in the home. And we need to make peace with that and try to have the spirit of the home make peace with it as well. And you have to understand that maybe the structure is not aware. It is sentient, but maybe isn't aware that, you know, you are separating it for the higher good of yourself, or the betterment of yourself or your family. And so it's going to try to repel the people that are actually looking at the home to buy it. Hey to Cynthia Lynch Carlson, Tony, Robert, and Tim. Thanks for joining. So Mary says St. Joseph. Yes, it's not St. Christopher, it's St. Joseph, because he was the carpenter. Absolutely. So I know that there are kits on Amazon that you can buy for St. Joseph. It's a little packet of the statuette and instructions that come with it. And it's usually that you bury him head first, upside down, facing the for sale sign, and there's a kind of a scripture prayer that you're supposed to say when you go and bury that to sell the home. And that works for a lot of people, but on many, many occasions, a lot of people have come to me and said, I've done this, I've done crystal work, and like nothing is working. This house is way underpriced. You know, it should be selling, but no one is even looking at it. The spirit in your home can actually be energetically blocking that. So my advice to you is to try to determine, is the house angry over the sale, or is the house blocking the sale because it doesn't understand that you need to move on? Okay, so you need to try to do a meditation and figure that out first. Is it an angry home, or is it just blocking you out of a reflexive reaction from fear for you? Because homes can be very protective. The spirit in the home can be very protective over not allowing you to move on because it doesn't understand. Maybe you haven't explained that. Maybe you haven't talked about it enough. So what things can we do about this situation? So the first thing that you need to do is do a meditation and really say, you know, in your meditation, communicate with the home and, you know, tell it what your intentions are. You know, this is too small. I need to move on to a bigger place. And you will accept and welcome a smaller family into this space, and then you will be happy. So Mary says, very interesting. Never thought of a spirit blocking a sale. Yes, Mary, I've seen this on more than one occasion. And it has taken me a very long time to figure out what was going on and why nothing else had worked. And the things that, you know, we can do to try to move on and not have this block us or restrict us. So once you do that meditation and you try to connect with the spirit of your home and to communicate with it that, you know, this is going to happen and that you need its cooperation. The other thing is to absolutely say goodbye to the home and separate your energy cord or cut the energy tie that's connected to the spirit of your house. And so I do have a PDF file on how to cut energy cords. If anyone tonight, and that includes you guys over here on Instagram, if any of you guys want to have that file on how to cut energy cords, I'd be more than happy to send that to you on Messenger. All you have to do is message me and I will share that file with you, and it will show you how to cut these energy cords or these energy ties. And it's not just with the home. This can be done, this particular PDF you can use with people or the house or whatever, or maybe even a job you're leaving behind. So if you want that file, just private message me on Facebook or message me here on Instagram, and I'd be more than happy to send it to you for free. So one of the other things that you can do is to restructure. Let's say that you have a not so nice home spirit. It's a little cranky. It doesn't like people coming in. It doesn't like any other families except for you. The energy needs to be restructured, but how are we going to do that? Let's see. Cynthia has a question. Since energy is free flowing, is it a bundle of energies from the whole household? Say one person doesn't want to move or fear of the unknown to another place. Cynthia, this is a very good question, and I'm so glad that you asked that, because I found that any one particular person who doesn't want to move and still has an energy tied to the property will hold up the sale. Every single person in that structure has to cut those energy ties and let them go. If the spirit of the home senses that any one person is still connected or still wants that connection or to still stay, then the owner of the home is going to have extreme difficulty in trying to sell that house because that home is still attached to someone. Now, I have seen cases where everybody but one child has let go and said goodbye to the property and removed their energy, and just the one small child has held up the sale of a property or home because they still had a strong energy connection to that spirit of the house. Hey to LaShonda, Laura, Corey, Lisa, thanks for joining us this evening. Corey, I hope the weather's okay up north where you guys are. Along with the cutting of the cords procedure, you have to make sure that everybody in the home is saying goodbye to the property, letting it go, letting it know that you guys need to move on, and that the space will be utilized by somebody who wants to care about it and who wants to connect with it. The spirit of the home is just like a human spirit, I think, in a lot of ways. It wants to be needed, it wants to be loved, and it needs that connection. Now, there are other types of spirits in the home that are strictly evil, and they have that traumatic imprint over maybe an occurrence that happened there that was really, really, really bad, like murder or suicide or something, really traumatic. And then the spirit of the home takes on kind of a malevolent type of tone, and really nobody's happy in that type of environment. But once that malevolent spirit of the home gets a hold of, a donor family, and it can feed off of the negative energy that it's causing the inhabitants to produce, it doesn't want to let go of that, because that's a steady source of food for it. It's kind of like a negative thought form, in that it feeds off of the negative emotions of the people that inhabit within the structure, because it causes things to happen so that the inhabitants put off that negative energy. So Melissa says that she purchased her mother's house from her estate and has tried to relocate and unable to leave. So Melissa, the first thing is to separate and cut the energy cords to the home. Then you want to say goodbye to the home and separate your energy ties with the home completely. Explain to it that another owner is going to come in and will be more beneficial to that home, and that your energy does not need to stay. The other thing that we can do is to restructure the energy of the area with programmed quartz crystals. Okay, so quartz crystal is it's highly programmable, which means that you can take it and program or ask it to do whatever task that you need. And it's really not telling it what it has to do, but it's more like an agreement between the two of you. It would be like you have a friend, and you go to that friend and you ask that friend, hey, I need help with this. Can you do this? And that quartz crystal is like, yeah, we can do this. And they put that energy out there. So when you're restructuring with quartz crystal, what you're doing is you're asking that quartz crystal to entrain itself to the energy of a more positive, welcoming, opening type of energy to whoever might come into the home to look at it for its sale. Okay, and the energy from the quartz crystal will actually work to restructure the base energy of what's in the home at the time you do that. So how are we going to do that? Well, you're going to have to grid the home. Now, there are only a few references on Amazon on how to grid a house. And so what I mean by gridding is you're going to have to determine how many quartz crystals you need to grid with. And a grid is formed by placing the quartz on every single corner of the home. So all corners of the home need a quartz crystal that's programmed, or an agreement sought with that crystal for what it needs to do. And then it's a process of connecting each quartz crystal to the other one and envisioning an actual energetic grid that goes from quartz to quartz. You're going to do the bottom, the sides, and the top, and it's going to contain the house energy spirit within it. Okay, that's the important thing, is when you grid the home with these quartz crystals, they're going to contain that house spirit within the grid, and then the grid can work on the energy of the house spirit. Okay, so if you program or agree with your quartz crystals that you're going to provide an energy of welcoming, acceptance, elation, positivity that goes out through the home, then people that come into the home to look at the home to possibly buy it are going to feel that energy, because the house, if it has a negative spirit to it, will not be able to project that energy to a possible buyer. So that's one big thing, Melissa, that we can do to try to restructure the energy of the home. My advice, if you don't have any quartz crystals that are really nice and large to grid this with, you can also use some smaller apophyllite crystals. And apophyllite is extremely good in gridding a home and reprogramming the energy. Now, here's one that's going to blow your mind, and I have another YouTube video on it. And after the show is over, I'm going to put the link to this other YouTube video in the comments section, and you guys can go and watch this episode in case you don't know what solfeggio frequencies are. But another way to restructure the spirit of the home or the energy of the home, because the spirit and the energy of the home are pretty much synonymous, you can use solfeggio frequencies to affect molecular structure, molecular changes in the home. So solfeggio frequencies have been around for centuries. And again, I will link in the comments below another video on exactly what they are. But when you play these tones or these frequencies, they are going to affect a molecular change. So if you have a spirit that is inhabiting your home, a sentient type of knowledge in that home, and you bombard this with solfeggio frequencies, it will affect a molecular change at the base of the home sentient knowledge or spirit. And so you can affect change. If you're having trouble selling your home, definitely you need to employ solfeggio frequencies. Now, they're all free on YouTube. All you have to do is to type in solfeggio frequencies on YouTube and play these in the background at a low volume. They're vibratory, they're resonant, and they will do the work in the background without you having to do much of anything. Now, I did look up to see what specific solfeggio frequencies we can use for this type of restructuring. And what I found is I definitely would suggest a solfeggio frequency of 174 hertz, because this frequency relieves pain. It imparts a sense of safety, love, and security. And this is for the house spirit that is afraid for you to leave or has a lot of fear surrounding the inhabitants leaving it. It may be afraid that no one is going to inhabit it. And so a frequency of 174 hertz will help alleviate the security issues with the spirit of the home. So Angie wants to know how to spell that. It's SOLFEGGIO, solfeggio frequencies. And these have been utilized for centuries. So, you know, I just don't worry. I will put a link in the comments about the other video that tells you all about what they are. So Peggy says, I don't like my house anymore. I love my home, but I don't want to be here anymore. Peggy, your home can feel that. And if you come to an agreement with it, like that you need to move on, you need other things, it will be easier to sell the house or the home And it will be easier for both of you to move on, Peggy, if you will do a meditation and just kind of communicate that to the house. So, hey to Kendrick7 over here on Instagram, and Medi, thanks for joining me this evening. Any of you guys that want to ask a question, go right ahead. Some other solfeggio frequencies that are really good for restructuring this molecular base of the home would be 285 hertz. And 285 hertz heals and regenerates. It restructures damaged things, and it sends a message to those damaged things, bringing them back to their original form. So if you've had a home that's been damaged by trauma, okay, something traumatic happened at your home, and the house spirit has taken on that trauma. It's kind of like cell memory, and these things can absorb that trauma and that cell memory, and they hold on to it. So we want to play 285 hertz so that the house spirit can restructure itself to the beginning of its existence. Maybe the restructuring will even take place to where the structure was actually a tree in a field before it got cut down in its natural state, in its original form, and it will revert to that positive energy. Some other ones that I want to go over, this is a big one for solfeggio frequencies, is 417 hertz. And 417 hertz removes negative energy from the structure, from the home, from the office. So if you have even a sentient spirit at your office, you can play 417 hertz and kind of nullify whatever negative energy has taken over. So if you're in a home that does have a negative imprint, I would definitely do 417 and 285 hertz on solfeggio frequencies. One of the other ones I definitely would do is the 639 hertz. And what that does is it creates a resonance of harmonious relationship. And that would go back to the relationship between you and the house spirit to maintain a harmonious communication between you and this sentient force that's inside of your home, so that there's that understanding. It understands why you need to leave, why you need to move on, and it understands that you're going to sell it to a family or a person that will value it just as much as you did. So that communication is so very, very important between you, your family, and the spirit of the home. So I want to ask you guys a question before we end for the evening, because we're approaching the half-hour mark. Let me grab these questions really quick. Mindy says, can you make a home sleepy? Whenever we visit my parents' house, we all need a nap midday, and it always feels hard to leave. Yes, Mindy, that house has attached itself to your parents' energy. It's entrained itself to your parents' energy. It's calming, it's soothing, it's allowing everybody to release their stresses. And so, yes, that's why you need a nap during the day, and it always feels hard to leave because that spirit has an energy cord to you, Mindy, and it's really connected with you guys, and it's kind of like your parents. It doesn't want you to leave. And all you have to do is do a meditation and communicate with the home and just tell it, I really appreciate this calming influence that you've imparted upon me, and I don't want to leave either, but I'm really glad to be here, and I appreciate the positive energy. So that is so very awesome. Okay, so I want to ask you guys a question. Let's see if anybody answers as to what they think. And I was thinking about this while I was doing this part too. If a house spirit is sentient, all right, and it can connect with you by energy cords, Okay, so that means it's alive. Can a house spirit die? That's my question to you. Can the house spirit die? Now, I have seen, and I'm going to give you one case study before I sign off for the evening. This was a property that was out past Winchester that we went to investigate, and this has been back in the 90s, early 2000. And so there was a home. It was extremely small. I think it was like 1 or 2 bedroom, maybe just 1 bathroom upstairs. You could count the upstairs as another bedroom, I guess, but it was so oppressive. This house had the feeling, I really felt the energy or the spirit of the home. It did feel like there was either satanic worshiping that had been imprinted there, maybe even a demonic presence that had been there. It definitely had some death, that it was associated with one of the people that had previously lived there. And I had seen this in one of my visions, had died on the way to the bathroom of a heart attack. And so it felt extremely evil. And I knew that I felt like that the house spirit had caused the death of the person that, was traveling to the bathroom and died of a heart attack. The house was abandoned, but the spirit was very much still there and very much still malevolent. So I'm wondering, can a house spirit die? Does it need inhabitants? Can it keep going without someone to connect with or feed off of? This particular house did, but was it feeding off of the past memory of the satanic worship and the demonic influence that had been at the property, is my question. So I'll see what you guys think. So, okay, so Melissa says she loves the tree spirits picked behind you. Melissa, Melissa, the trip to the ancient mound that we did influenced me to change the backdrop for today. Now, if you guys didn't know, Saturday I did an ancient mound walkthrough at Mount Horeb Earthworks here in Lexington. It is an ancient mound. It's a thunderbolt strike. We did like a private walkthrough, and I showed people how to do a property discernment. It was a lot of fun. But you know what impressed me the most about the walkthrough, Melissa, were the trees that were there, and that influenced me to change the backdrop for today because I just really connected with those. So Veronica says, I have a sense of sadness in a home. Yes, and that you may be detecting the house spirit, and so it's important to know, why is that house spirit sad? Is that picking up energy from yourself or somebody else in the home? Or is that something that happened before you got the home? So Cynthia says nothing dies, energy flows elsewhere when it loses its host power source, I believe. Yes, so I'm taking from that, you don't think that a house spirit can die. It just transfers to a different home. And I agree with you. I think that that's probably what it does. Angie Shell, lightning bugs. Yes, lightning bugs in the background. Hey to Chastity. And Angie says, I looked at one that had a coldness or starkness to it and left there quickly. Those type of houses will let you know that you are not welcome. Very definitely and very quickly. So I don't say that you necessarily would have to leave, but if you're intuitive or you have psychic abilities, it's going to be pretty strong, and it's going to make you really, really uncomfortable. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, part 2 of Do Houses Have a Spirit? I definitely feel like they do. If you're having trouble selling your home, I urge you to go back and rewind this and watch the beginning of it for tricks and tips on what you can do to separate yourself from the home spirit or restructure it to where you can definitely sell that house and you can move on with your life, and it can move on too. Don't forget, I have a meditation app on Google Play Store. It's called the Mental Cocktail Lounge. And if you need a break in the middle of the day and you can't have a genuine cocktail, take the meditation and do the Mental Cocktail Lounge. It's sort of a mind cocktail, if you will, to relax your spirit through the day and help you relax. Don't forget also, I have a free reading every Friday on Facebook. It's called Fun Friday. You're welcome to participate. And it's a 3-card draw, and the reveal is done on YouTube and Facebook every Friday at 4 p.m. You guys are more than welcome for this episode. Next week, we'll have another episode. This show is every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for you guys tuning in. I do appreciate it. Please share with your friends if you think that they would enjoy the material. And if you want to see past shows of Monday Night Live, I will leave a link to my YouTube channel in the comments section. You can go back to the playlist, Monday Night Live in Lexington, and watch some of the past shows that are really good. We have shows on ghosts and spirits, doppelgangers, poltergeists, black-eyed children, how to see auras, how to change your aura, which you've never seen before, 5-part series on aliens. It's just, we have a lot of fun on Monday night. Kisses from Kentucky, and I will see you guys next Monday night. Bye.